Good morning. How are you, Rita?
Fine, good to see you.
Blaine?
And I just want to verify I can hear each of you well. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. You're coming in
I
crystal
can.
clear.
Okay, perfect. You know, we have a whole new monthly superstar process going on with COVID. And where ordinarily I bring our superstars into our studio, we're obviously doing it remotely through Zoom. And it is generally a seamless transition. So it's been really fun being able to do it this way, but to see everyone's pets in the background, or maybe there's someone knocking at the front door and it's a whole different situation. And yet we didn't want to not have our wonderful monthly Superstar Live interviews. So I am so pleased that both of you were able to join us now in September. I know we had you down earlier in the year, and then we were all sheltering at home with COVID. So thank you for being so very flexible and being here in September.
Rita, I'm so honored to be here. You are by far the best educator, and adapt and overcome is what you've always done and doing now. So this is absolutely suiting for what we're dealing with. So thank you, Rita, for doing this.
Thank you so much, Thai Klam. And welcome, Blain Johnson. How are you in San Antonio?
I'm very good, and also likewise thrilled to be here, thrilled to support what you do and all the accomplishments you've had thus far. Thrilled to be a part of it.
Well, I am so pleased to have the Houston region represented, San Antonio region represented by two of our outstanding champions. I want to say hello to all of our students around the state. Definitely Dallas, Fort Worth, most definitely Austin. We have our president of our company, Kimberly Didelowitz, offices at our beautiful new Austin campus right now, and Kurt Knobloch, our vice president and in charge of technology. And then we move into San Antonio, where you're from, and you were one of our awesome graduates in about 2011, 2012, Blain, and we're so happy that you're one of our champions. And then we move into Houston, and we have our West Campus on Highway 6, and then our Galleria campus, and then our Houston North Campus, where I operate out of. I know our students saw the PowerPoint prior to us coming on at 9:30, and you all got to see our new Houston North Campus that is just like 30 days away from being open, and we're so excited about that. But thank you for your business to all of our champion students that are watching today. You have no idea the great information that is coming in the next 50 minutes. And I highly recommend that you get out any type of writing tool that you have, be it just paper, pen in the classroom, or your laptop, iPad, because Ty and Blain have amazing experience and top-notch tools to give you their words of wisdom, to their secrets to success. I want to give each of them a very formal introduction because of how truly successful they are. I'm just going to start with Ty. And Thai Klam with Compass Realty 18 years experience in business management and operations. He specializes in asset acquisitions, dispositions, new construction development. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. During our 50 minutes, he's also HAR, Houston Association of Realtors. He serves on the advisory board for technology. So that definitely tells you his amazing and good information on the technology side and what helps him in real estate in that regard. 2011, he was Houston Association of Realtors top 20 agents under 40 years of age. 20, what?
Still under 40.
Still under 40. You know, every time I look at that, I'm like, do I talk about age with that?
Quite all right.
What a compliment for sure to start out a career at a young age and be so successful. 2012, you were ranked number 7 in the state of Texas for top sales, and Houston Business Journal had you as number 9 in the whole region. I think what's most impressive to me, Ty, is year to date, you have generated $650 million in sales, 650 transactions to date. And, but if our students had the opportunity to meet you and know you, they would realize and see you can be successful and be a really swell person. You are just always a delight when I have the opportunity to see you face to face and just visit with you.
Thank you, Rita. It's my honor to be here.
Absolutely, from my heart, and you know that. And Blain Johnson, when I asked San Antonio, who would be a person that you would recommend for me to have as an interviewee along with Ty, instantly they said, see if you can get Blain Johnson. And I'm going to tell our viewers why. He's with JB Goodwin Realtors, and last 6 years he is in the Platinum Top 50, which is very well known in San Antonio, Austin area, which means top agents in the whole region. When you started out with JB Goodwin, you were the Rookie of the Year. And what I think is really incredible is every year after that, Blain was number 1 for his company, top sales, top listings, 7 straight years in a row. And the San Antonio Business Journal has you in the top 25 for volume for agents in the San Antonio region. You currently rank number 12 in all 16,000 agents by the San Antonio Board of Realtors. We have 2 true champions. And I just want to start off by asking Blain if you would right away just tell us what inspired you to be an entrepreneur at a young age and start your own bakery business that you ended up selling your half of the ownership to your brother, I believe, and you then jumped into real estate. What inside of you makes you an entrepreneur?
Thanks for the question, Rita. I think it's just is innate in who my siblings and I are. My parents owned bakeries in San Antonio when I was growing up. So when each one of us hit 10 years old, we had to choose an aspect of the business we wanted to jump in and be trained at. And so my sister and I chose to be cake decorators, and my 2 brothers chose to be master bakers. So I think from that age on, it just was instilled, the work ethic was instilled, and being a business owner was instilled. And so my siblings and I all bypassed college and went straight into the bakery industry, mostly on the retail side. I jumped in with my brother into the wholesale side. And after about 10 years, we felt like there was a niche in San Antonio that had been left open. So we quit and started our own company, which is called Johnson Brothers Bakery Supply, and grew it from a mom and pop cash and carry, just him and I, over the course of 20 years to when I left, to 120 employees, 20 18-wheelers covering 5 states. We had a division in Houston and Dallas and in San Antonio. I don't know, I at the same time, I was also a worship leader for 20 years. And I just felt like it was time to do something different, maybe some mission work, which I'd done. I'd led worship all over the world. And so I wanted to try something different. And I had a really good friend from Phyllis Browning that had been a top 5 agent in San Antonio for about 25 years that had told me one time during a transaction, if you ever get out of the food industry, that you might want to, your skill set, I think, would work really well with real estate. And I think with a love of architecture, I was a CFO, so the numbers made sense to me. But yeah, I think it just goes all the way back to when I was 10 and kind of, you know, made to choose, but it was a good thing. I mean, it was a really good thing what they did for me and my siblings. So I think it was just innate in who we are, you know, but I love the idea of being in business for myself.
Obviously, it works for you very well. And each of your family members deciding what part of the business they're going to be involved in at 10 years old gave me a great idea. I have 9 grandchildren right now, and I just see a great future for them. And were you paid for that at 10 years old, or was that like free labor?
We were free labor for a while, and then they started, so we kind of had to earn, like show what our training ethic was like. And then they slowly started paying us a little bit. Obviously back then it was, I don't know, like $1 an hour or something. But yeah, we started out free labor and worked our way into pay.
Well, of course I'm joking, because I am so fortunate in that one of my daughters has been with me for 20 years now, and she's the president of the company. And I know how that works with having family involvement. And for us, it's been a true blessing. What a great story. What a great story. Ty, what in your particular genetic background allowed you to have the faith and confidence to be the entrepreneur that you are?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that for me, I didn't know this, Blaine, but we share the same kind of background. I had a bakery as well. And I sold a bakery to get into the business. So I guess if you own a bakery, you're going to be great in real estate. So that's the message that we're giving you guys. Or in the restaurant business, because Blaine, you can attest, it's just a tough business.
Yes.
And, you know, I'd say that entrepreneurship is definitely a skill set that has to be learned. In some genetic makeups, you want to be independent and you want to have the freedom to maintain your own schedule and be able to operate your own business. But the reality is you don't get freedom and you don't control your schedule because it's really hectic. So you really have to work at that in terms of being an entrepreneur. So I wish I learned that early on, but now there comes some balance, I guess, having been in the business for so long. But for me, I've always been in sales. I think my dad recognized that at an early age. I mean, when I was 15 years old, he gave me Ziegler's book and he had signed it and I still have it and I've read it and it's tattered. I've loved that. I've always like thrived in that area. And, you know, that just kind of naturally pushed me into entrepreneurship.
I love it in that everyone that's watching either from home on live broadcast and in our classrooms now, because our campuses are open, everyone comes from every walk of life. And then you go through the process of taking our classes, whether it's real estate, loan appraisal, inspection, but you are then an entrepreneur, and it takes a lot of self-confidence and a lot of personal motivation to just make your business successful. So today, as I ask you certain questions, I know that there will be many that will wonder, can I do that? Can I do that? And I know that you will express to them how you felt as a new agent trying to market your business, market yourself, and at the same time pay bills. So I want all of our viewing students today to know that this is a very, very important 50 minutes for you. And I'm going to jump right into a question that affects all of us today. And that question being, during this pandemic, how have you changed your business and how has it been for you to show, sell, list property? And I think I'll jump right in with Ty. Ty, how has the pandemic changed your business practice?
You know, the pandemic at first paused the market for a couple months because no one knew what was going to happen or what they were going to do. But then when things started to get back to opening up, during that time, those companies that were highly involved in tech developed tech platforms that really accelerated some of the tools that we would have been using anyways within the next 5, maybe 6 to 10 years. But the way we're showing property now is we're doing, meetings like this, or we're using the app through our MLS that connects it with the buyer and they're able to see properties. So what they'll do is they'll eliminate the properties that don't work by us physically going out there and giving them video tours, and then focus on maybe 1 or 2 that they want to end up purchasing, and going just to visit those 2 in person still, because that part hasn't changed yet. So we've saved a lot of time by using technology. We'll do that on the listing side too. So listing appointments are done via FaceTime or Zoom meetings, and the seller will walk us through the property and kind of showcase the house a little bit. And then when it comes time to physically see it, we can evaluate the value of the home by the video, and then we'll go through and do a physical walkthrough when it gets closer to time to list. So I'd say technology has really changed how we do business right now.
Do you feel like it's loosened up just a little bit as far as buyers feeling more comfortable and sellers feeling more comfortable about buyers coming through their home? Or do you feel like it is still similar to April and May, where everybody was a little bit apprehensive, if not a whole lot apprehensive?
Yeah, I think sellers have definitely loosened up because there's not a lot of inventory, so they're getting more value for their home. So I think that's really helped from the listing side because prices are up. I think buyers, the way we operate now, are cautious. So there's always, sanitizer, face masks being worn. So there's a new level of precaution that's being taken in the market. But for the most part, it has not slowed it down at all. If anything, the pandemic and where the market is now has increased the amount of traffic that's out there.
That's what we're hearing all over. Blaine, your market in San Antonio, do you feel like it's more robust now than it was in January, February? What's the condition in San Antonio?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's amazing here. I mean, the market is so fast. We have a little over 2 months inventory, and so for people who don't, new agents that don't understand what that means, it for sure makes it a seller's market. That would mean like if no properties hit the market over the next 2 months, everything would be gone. So the inventory is so low. I'm seeing multiple offers on even properties, $900,000. I mean, it's, while there's protocols in place, like Ty was saying, the amount of traffic, I'm showing probably 5 out of 7 days every single week. I mean, it's, the people who have not been impacted financially are really forging ahead, but with protocols in place.
Do you find that buyers are feeling a little bit frantic? Like, if I don't make my offer as soon as I see this house, and if I don't make it a very good offer, I'm going to lose out. Do you see any buyers that are like frustrated because of sort of a panic type buying?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's multiple offers so frequently right now. And everybody sees it differently. I mean, I have buyers right now that, are looking for a deal, and I'm trying to explain to them, there really are no deals right now. I mean, you really have to offer, I have one right now fighting over $5,000, and I'm telling my buyer, pay the $5,000. I mean, somebody's going to do it, So if you really love the house, it's worth it. But yeah, there is kind of a frantic mindset around, am I going to find something? It's that busy right now.
What is your most active price range in San Antonio, with the most buyers wanting to buy, frankly, fighting over that price range house?
Yeah, in San Antonio, I'd say it's 250 to 350 would be the prime target for San Antonio.
Would you agree that's the same in Houston area, Ty?
Yeah, ours is a little bit higher. It's about 200 to 500, whereas where most of the volume's at. So any conforming products that are out there have has seen dramatic growth.
Yeah.
So we've had such a wonderful influx of new people, not just in real estate, but believe it or not, so many home inspectors. We've never had so many home inspectors, wannabes that are coming in to get their license. And they are coming from all different walks of life saying, I'm reading, I'm seeing that people are coming in from all over the US. Have you pinpointed a certain state or states where we're seeing more people coming in to the Texas region than any other state? What do you think, Blaine? I see you shaking your head yes. What
Yeah.
states do you see?
Yeah, California. I think for multitudes of reasons, but I have, and I do some marketing there. I'll market some of my listings in that region.
Oh my goodness,
I,
how do you do that?
I do either from Facebook ads that are targeting those communities, and then I'll do mail outs to different mailing lists that I'll purchase that have looking for a certain price point. But the Facebook campaign's probably been the most successful.
Very innovative.
Where you target a community and you can post photographs of the listing and details. Sometimes I've done it in Spanish and English. But yeah, I have 3 clients right now, high-end clients that are all from California. But yeah, and just stuff I've been reading, people are just leaving in droves for just, I mean, whether it's economy or the fires or just, wanting to have a slower paced lifestyle. Yeah, I think California is probably a key state that's kind of heading into the Texas market.
Ty, what is your opinion on why real estate is so active right now during a pandemic? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. I think a couple factors play into it. One is that the mortgage-backed securities being purchased by the Fed at an unlimited rate keeps liquidity in the market. So you're seeing tons of supply where the banks can continue to do loans. So interest rates are super low, an all-time low. And they're expecting it to continue to be like that until like 2022. And then also, I think that the migration as well, we're seeing that relocation too, come from California as well. We're also getting relocation because we're more heavy of an oil and gas market. So we're seeing it from Louisiana and other markets too that's moving here. And I think that people are also just assessing their kind of homes, and when they're now, stuck at home in their pandemic or stuck in an apartment, not wanting to be next to the neighbor that's loud or annoying, they're just wanting to move and get out of their house or their situation. And they're taking the time to really fix up their home because they have the freedom and time to do so. So we're getting some really nice homes on the market, and they're upgrading for homes that now meet their needs, whether it's a bigger home office or a pool, or maybe like, different areas for the kids to study, or bigger rooms that they can fit desks so they can do homeschooling. So, the purchase decisions have changed from what was before.
They have. They're sitting and saying in their home right now, what can we do to maybe have more space for our dogs, our pets, as you said, for the kids, since they are homeschooling them. It's so different in that regard that we've never seen before. And each of those words are followed up from last month's interview with Dr. Gaines, who said, we, as Blaine mentioned, we're seeing so many people move in from California and the Northeast, and yet those that are at home wanting to just make a change. Do you feel as though appraisers may be having a difficult time putting value on property right now with such fast, instant appreciation within 5 months, every week, every month? There's an
Because every time
uptick.
we have, yeah, every time we have a transitioning market, that prices increase, and we've been through a couple of these so far in the last like 10, 12 years. Appraisers have a hard time catching up because the market data is relevant within 6 months of the property that they're appraising. And so I had recently 2 properties that didn't meet value because the buyers are willing to pay more. And like Blaine said, multiple offer situations, buyers willing to pay over list. How we overcome that is removing the appraisal contingency and having buyers agree to pay more. And then also, really take the time to visit with the appraiser, educate them on why we appraise the market based on where the trend is headed versus on where it was, and highlight the features of the property and really try to maximize the value on the list side. So, but they are struggling with that because we're seeing appraisals coming low. It's going to probably be like that for the next 30 to 60 days. Would you agree, Blaine?
Yeah, I mean, just it's a subjective, career for them anyway. I mean, you're basing everything on what they think, and some of it's data driven, and some of it's just opinion driven. But yeah, I think it takes appraisers a while to catch up. I try to provide, while I don't show up because a lot of them don't like you to be there, I do try to provide them like a list of amenities or things that they've done, because it is hard for them to, even in a luxury community from one house to another, it's hard for appraisers to see the difference in finishes and how that impacts the value. So yeah, I think they really struggle to keep the pace.
And are you feeling that you're having to also perhaps spend more time with your buyers, educating your buyers on there might be multiple offers, how to make the contract more agreeable to the seller or for the buyer to get that particular home, and also other information like if in fact it doesn't appraise because we have such an escalating market, do you possibly have the wherewithal to pay the difference between the appraisal and the sales price? Are you having to educate buyers more, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, both sides, Rita, buyers and sellers on both, that, this may not meet appraised value, and there may be a buyer that wants to pay more, but they may not be able to. So we're subjected to what the value that the appraisers come in at. And I mean, I've taken USPAC classes and appraisal classes, so I absolutely love our appraisers and appreciate what they do. I'm not data like that and analytical, so I could never do their job. I love sales. I love being with the client. So on that aspect, we do have to educate our clients a lot more than before in terms of where the market is now and where it's headed, because naturally, if they haven't bought a home in the last couple of years and all they do is watch the news all day, they think the sky's falling and the world's going to end, and that, they're going to get a good deal, but that's not the case at all right now. Not at all.
Well, I'm going to now go back to sort of a foundation, but I wanted us to hit that most important subject straight off this morning, because that's what we're hearing in our classrooms. How do you operate during a pandemic? And thank you both for your expertise in that. But let's go back to when you were new in the business, and if you would give our students some of your nuggets of what you did to get started as a brand new person that allowed you to, for example, be Rookie of the Year the first year, but jumpstart your career. Do you want to give us and start out with that, Blaine?
Sure, absolutely. I was fortunate, I think, that I was able to start out with a large database because I came from a business industry. So I made sure and had all of those people in there. And also was a worship leader for a long time. So I had a huge church database. So I really did start out with a fortune, and I was fortunate to have a huge database. But what I teach classes now when our agents come to JB Goodwin, they spend 14 days in training. They spend their last day with me. And so this is basically what I'm teaching, is keys to success. But I think if when people ask me the most important things that I did in the very beginning, to me, the number one thing is to spend some time that first, when you finish your classes and you're on Monday morning and you have no clients, like establish a database. And whether it's you're with a broker that has something that they offer you, or you're purchasing your own and paying a monthly fee, there's Top Producer, Constant Contact. If your broker doesn't do that, there's some great databases out there. But whether it's 30 people, 300 or 3,000, I mean, have them in there and start communicating with them and hitting them 2 to 4 times a month. I think it's important to make an announcement to those people of what you're doing different. I had so many people that just saw me as a bakery guy or just saw me as a worship leader. So it was important, I think, for them to see me as something different. So an introductory letter to all of those people I did. In the beginning, I wrote a lot of personal notes. So pulling people from that database and starting to, write personal notes to those people. Obviously at this, early in your career, most of the time, you have a lot of time because you don't have anybody, buyers or sellers. So the time is, right now is the time to build that firm foundation. So lay those things in place. But I would say having a database and managing it over the course of your career is the most significant one thing I feel like I've done that's made it work for me.
And I just want to pull out for our students, you say that you reach out and touch like 2 to 4 times a month. Is that what I heard?
Correct.
Okay. And Ty, what are some basics that you did?
Yeah, no, I think, building a business to get to where Blaine is at, I think is where everyone wants to start out with. And not everybody has that luxury. For me, when I had my bakery, it's more retail and wholesale, so customers would come through, but I never had the opportunity to build like a deep relationship with them and connect with them. So my business was cold. And also when I started it, I started in a market that was about to crash and I didn't know it. This is 2007. So in midsummer of 2007, I got into the business. First 6 months, I struggled. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I only did 3 transactions. Then the market started to like crash. And I said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I sold my business because, my firstborn son was coming. And Jaden, who's like 14 now, I mean, I wanted to have all the time in the world and being in the bakery. I just couldn't do that 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I had all the time, but I had no income. And after 6 months, I was literally going to quit because I was like, I'm done. This business is not for me. I'm not making income. I'm going to go get a job. And then I remember vividly in 2007, December, President Bush signed the Debt Relief Act into place. And I read it in detail. Like I literally studied it inside and out. And that transformed my business. I mean, I focused specifically on short sales. And within the next 6 months, I mean, I helped 35 homeowners who were about to lose their home because of foreclosure, sell their house and get out from under their mortgage that they were upside down in. And, that helped jumpstart my career. From there, I made a lot of connections with investors and I started helping investors buy a bunch of, short sales because they had great value. And then I got on Fannie and Freddie's radar and I, became a listing agent for Fannie and Freddie and Wells Fargo and Bank of America. And then it just catapulted from there. And I've maintained those relationships on both sides. So that's where you want your business to be, is with database, and get there and continue to love on those people that do business with you. It definitely takes some time, but you never let go of those relationships, because like yesterday, after like having sold their home as a short sale, and this is probably like a touching moment for me, because after 9 years of having gone through that financial hardship and overcoming it, I literally helped a client that I helped do a short sale 9 years ago close on their home purchase. And they were just about in tears over lunch.
Isn't
And
that
so,
exciting?
yeah, it's those moments and those relationships that really help, build your business and gives us purpose and why we do what we do.
What my takeaway is from that is being flexible with the marketplace, and for you to pull apart that new law that came down and to say, how can I take this and help build my business and sell short sales, which for our new people, it means he was in the foreclosure side of the business, helping people get out from under their mortgage that they were upside down with. And wow, I'm sure it was a meaningful moment to have helped these people now in 2020 buy their dream home, and you helped them years back. I know that you both have niches, so to speak, areas that you specialize in. Can you talk about a niche or a niche, however you want to pronounce it? How do you decide this is going to be my specialty? Or perhaps both of you don't have a niche. Maybe you do everything. Can you talk about that side of the business for just a few minutes? Blaine, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah. when I first started, I didn't really know what direction my career would go. I really did just start it thinking it was going to be a hobby, not thinking it would be a full-fledged second career. So I didn't really set out to have a niche, and to this day, I don't really have a niche. There was a period, maybe my second and third year, I had helped a flipper, a guy, investor who flips houses. And I kind of just met him by chance at an open house. And I convinced him to, while I did not have a marketing strategy yet, I convinced him I did have a marketing strategy, and he hired me to market his first flip, and it was my first listing. And I really did try to take care of him. I staged the property for him, and I have the ALHS and the CHMS designations from Champions, so that helped. But in my mind, I was really just taking care of him. I didn't feel like it was above and beyond. But this guy, I think this is a really interesting story for new agents. Is just do what you say you're going to do and take care of people, because you never know when they're going to impact your career significantly. And this guy, just this one man, through word of mouth, through the investment community that he was involved in, the San Antonio Real Estate Investors Association, he would do a lot of lunch and learns and dinners, and he started telling other flippers about what I did for him. And pretty soon I had probably 15 flippers that I was marketing for. So my volume, from first year to second year, went from 4 to 13. And I listed $18 million my second year, really due to that one guy. And so there was a period of time that I really did have a niche with flippers. But over the course of time, over the last 4 or 5 years, I would not say I have a niche at all. I kind of work, it's just kind of happened that way. I do a lot of luxury, but I also do, $90,000 houses on the west side of San Antonio. So it's kind of placed me everywhere. I would not say I have a niche business right now. That was probably the only period of my career where so much of it was around people who are flipping, and I was not working with them on the buy side. I only worked with them on the marketing side, on the sell side. They were typically buying from wholesalers.
What a wealth of information you learned. And of course, flipping is so popular with all of the HTV shows and such. Any particular niche, Ty, that you would say you concentrate on?
I think the best advice I could give is for those that are getting into the business is, number one, be a great student. Like, really study what you're looking to do. When I first got into the business, I realized I was going to do a lot of buyer side transactions. So one of the designations that's available at your school, Rita, is ABR. Accredited buyers rep, really helped me represent the buyers to the best of my ability, right? And then if you're going to get into a niche, for me, I'm a lot more diversified in niches than I was before getting into it. I started in short sales. I learned, the REO business, as well as like new construction, and I do some commercial as well. The key to that is not only being a great student, but find great mentors. Like, that really makes all of the difference, whether it's, you're wanting to pursue foreclosures with REOs, or you want to do new construction with builders, or work luxury in that aspect. You really want to be guided and mentored by someone that can, help show you the ropes, help answer your questions, and really, share their mistakes that they've made, so you don't have to make those same mistakes. And I think having that bit of information would make all the world of a difference in your business getting into it.
Mentors are definitely important. And as you said, whoever that is, if it's your office manager, if it's another top producer in the office that's willing to take you under their wing, but at the same time, as a new person, you can always observe people like Blain and Ty and just see how they operate and how very professional they are, how genuine you are. And it comes across to the general public. People really just want to do business with people that are kind and come across as wanting to certainly help them. I know that, Blain, you operate on your own, not with a team. And I really have to ask, with your amount of business, how in the heck do you do that by yourself?
It's a challenge. I have had an assistant in the past. I currently do not. So I'm kind of on the lookout for that. But so I've never worked as a team. I think I've chosen to be an individual agent. I was in business for so long and had so many employees. And when people ask me what was the best thing about being in business, I would say it was the people. I mean, I got very involved with my people and in their career and their life. And, but then I would say the hardest thing is also the people. And so when I sold, I don't know, I kind of really liked the idea of just building something, you know, on my own. I've been asked to form a team many times over the course of the last 8 years. I don't know, I've just chosen not to do that. I mean, I've enjoyed what I've built on my own.
It's obviously working for you.
Yeah.
Very well. It is.
But yeah, it's hard. I work a lot.
Yes, you do, to have that type of volume and status. And Ty, I know you have a team. I feel like you've always had a team. Can you tell us how you made that determination?
Yeah, Rita. I mean, for me, first, obviously 6 months, maybe a year into it, it was all by myself. And when you get into the business, you find yourself needing to do that as an entrepreneur, just really like, grassroots, doing it by yourself. But then you get to a point where you just don't have the time. I mean, for me, it's being able to, and you think about why you got into this business. And for me, it was to have more time to do the amount of volume and transactions that we do without having help is for me virtually impossible, and still be there for my family, wife, 4 kids, and a puppy. It's just no way. So, I made the choice early on to have someone help me, and that's going to be your first team. It's just an assistant. To have an assistant that, licensed or unlicensed with office or clerical work that you may need, but to be able to help you prepare the paperwork, to keep the transactions going while you're out there in the field. My number one priority to my team is to generate leads, convert those leads, and get more business and do sales. And if I do that and I do it well, then I think the team can manage the rest of the service and the clients will have a better experience. And I feel like that, and I'll have balance as well in my life as opposed to doing it on my own. So kudos to you, Blain, and anyone else who does it on their own. But for me, I've realized this is impossible.
While I'm talking with you, you are on the advisory board for Houston Association of Realtors Technology Advisory Board. Obviously, that means you have a lot of good ideas and you certainly implement those. For new people that are wondering, what type of technology must I learn? What type of social media must I be involved with? What advice would you give them, Ty?
Oh, that's a great question. I think social media in today's just operating environment is necessary, but it's almost a necessary evil, right? You want to promote your business, but not consume your time too much because that's not where your business comes from. It's based on relationships. So use it as a platform to advertise, because right now, the way social media is set up, we're using algorithms and artificial intelligence to advertise specifically to consumers that are looking to buy or sell, and leverage that technology to your benefit to generate kind of like the leads that you may need to do business. Definitely know your MLS and the applications that are available to you and learn how to operate using that. I mean, for me, 95% of the time, I just use my iPhone to conduct business. And it's, gotten to that. So you guys are very fortunate, because before we would need a lot of devices. And I'd probably say use the different platforms that you're comfortable with, whether it's Google Meet, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever it is, and operate that's at a level that your client is just okay with. Don't force your technology into someone that's not going to use that technology, even though it may be convenient to you. So you've got to know multiple platforms to be able to engage what your clients, kind of use is basically.
That is super advice. Don't force on your clients what you're comfortable with,
Right.
because they may not be comfortable with that. And what type of technology do you use, Blain? What do you prefer on the social media / technology side?
Well, obviously, Facebook is probably the number one platform that agents use to expose listings or even activity just sold, just listed. And I've used it, like I said earlier, for targeting demographics of people looking in a certain area for a certain thing. The other thing I would encourage your students to think about is the brokers that they choose and what kind of technology they have to offer. We have a system for the last 2 years called Moxie Works, which is real estate driven with a lot of automation. And like Ty said, time is a big deal. For me, in my stage of life, all of my kids are gone. I live alone. So, it's not the same as when I had, all my kids at home. But I would say anything that can remove the work for you, in automation. So I would encourage them when they're interviewing brokers to find out what they have to offer. Our system is free to our agents, and it's a phenomenal system that integrates listing presentations and all kinds of drip campaigns, newsletters, and the content of that, the newsletter and things that you have opportunities to send out are so good. So I would encourage them to find out what technology comes with that broker and utilize that to maximize your time as well.
Blain, can I say something?
Absolutely.
I think that makes a good point. One of the tools that you definitely want to have is a good CRM. And what CRM is a client relationship management platform. There's many that's out there. Our association, being on the technology board, is developing one for our members. But I mean, personally, I use a Salesforce platform called Property Base. I use Top Producer, which before that was a really popular one as well. Even if you use Excel spreadsheet and you manage it that way, or you keep index cards, whatever you want to call your CRM, it's your CRM, as long as it does what you need to do to maintain information about your client and stay connected with them. So I think that's super, super important.
I hope and believe that our students watching right now, to the tune of about 800 to 1,000, maybe more, that they most definitely are writing that down. But in case they miss it, because regularly we get on the chat, and I've seen a couple of chats already to that effect, oh, can you repeat such and such? I want all of our listening audience to know that our outstanding live department, our technology department in the Houston Galleria area, they will have this entire interview on YouTube tomorrow. So our students can go to YouTube tomorrow and it will sit on our Champions site, because this information is so valuable, and it also shows to our students how relaxed you are. You both are so very successful. You sat in the seats they're sitting in, and here you are today. And that sort of springboards me to a question. Both of you being top producers, and as I've mentioned, your accolades on sales and volume and transactions completed. Did you have a defining moment when you realized, wow, I think I'm okay now. I've got this new career down, and I feel like it's going to be okay from here on out? Did either of you have a defining moment? Ty, did you have one?
I think for me was that what I told you earlier in that story where I was literally going to quit. I had to have a come to Jesus moment with my, just myself and what I was going to do with my life and my career, because it was so tough for me. And at that moment, having to make the choice to really understand what was going on in the market and dig in and go out there and get the business was definitely a defining moment for me. And in terms of to grow the business and get to a level where I feel like I'm okay, I don't think I, have thought that I'll ever be there. I really feel like there's a purpose in what I do, and just continuing to do it fulfills that purpose. I would say that if I let myself get comfortable, the industry will move right under your feet and you won't know it. And the reason I say that is because I was very good at REOs and short sales and did that, and I focused on growing an office. And I missed the market when it turned, and I didn't shift and learn to build a business and new construction in time. And, that transitioning market slowed down my business dramatically. So, if you're in the business and you're doing well, don't let that be an opportunity to be complacent, to study where the market is headed, because it will change. It will not always be like where it's at today.
Very good information. Very good information. Blaine, did you have a defining moment?
I agree with Ty that it's an industry that requires you to kind of be, aware at all times. But I think after our owner JB Goodwin always talks about 7 years. A 7 year is where your referral network really kicks in, and you can start, if you've done what you say you're going to do and you've taken care of people, that network of people, and that's really the network of people that I really, really market to, which is my past buyers and sellers. But I think it's important, to rest on that, but stay alert. But yeah, I think probably a couple of different times when I've been teaching that class for all of our new agents on their last day, they'll spend 3 or 4 hours with me. But I don't know, maybe 2 years into doing that, I remember there was a day when I walked in the room and I introduced myself, and like several of the agents, like all at one time said, "No, we know who you are." And so I think that was like, oh wow, that's kind of cool, So yeah, they typically I find that they've done their homework, and they've been in our offices for 2 weeks and through training, and there's plaques on the wall that list the top agents of the last 10 years and the top listing agents. So they saw my name, I guess, on those plaques, and they did their research. And so I'm always surprised at how much they've looked into the brokerage as much as they do. But yeah, whenever I walk in a class and they say that, I mean, it's a nice reminder, of a job well done,
A job well done. Very well said.
Rita, do you think I can add something to that? I will say to you guys that technology has been an accelerant at a rate of how well you can do in this business. What it took Blaine and me years and years to accomplish in that, I've seen agents do it in relatively a short period of time, like 6 to 9 months, and it's amazing. And you look at the companies out there that have transformed just how we do business. I mean, right now it's like using Instacart and Shipt and Uber to get around, and companies like the one Blaine's with and the one I'm with, Compass, they have tremendous technology platforms that will transform the way people interact and do business with each other using artificial intelligence. And to be on the forefront of that, and to get in an industry right now where you don't have to do a lot of the knocking on doors and legwork that we used to do. I mean, occasionally we'll still do it, but you can really build your business using the platform that's out there now in a shorter period of time, per se.
That should really bring a lot of extra hope and excitement to new people right now with those words that you shared. And I'm sure some of our students are thinking, well, how many hours a week do I have to work to be a Thai or a Blaine? So I'm going to give you a twofold question. If you would each give our students an approximate amount of time that you personally work every week, and then I'm going to flip it and say, and if you have any fun, what is your hobby or what do you like to do for fun? So, Blaine, you want to start with that question?
Sure. I would say right now, I probably work about 50 hours. There's times it's less and times it's more. I mean, obviously right now I'm doing everything. So I'll tend to do my paperwork stuff, watching Netflix at night in bed. So, I have a different lifestyle than I once had. So I can do that. And I don't really mind doing that right now. When I have an assistant, it is for sure less. Obviously, my time is most significantly spent with people. I feel like that's the skill that God has given me. That's worked the best for me. I mean, I love people. I love establishing relationships. But yeah, I would say right now I spend about 50 hours, but it's a flexible 50 hours. I think, which is the beauty of our industry is, there may be days when, I'll work 14 hours, but then there may be days where I'll have a client in the evening, but I had all day free where I could go to the pool or, so it's a flexible schedule within, even if you're working 50, 60 hours, if there's flexibility within there, you can work in things, your day-to-day schedule as well.
So good information about 50 hours. And then because real estate is a flexible business, it allows you to go to the pool, play golf, do something in between that you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Ty, what would you add to that?
When I first got in this business, I was doing about, I'd say like 70, 80 hours a week. I mean, it's a lot of work. And I got into the business, which is like the opposite. I got into like have freedom of time, and it was just a lot more time committed to doing, the work than I expected. And then, when I had an assistant, I got some of my time back. That reduced it about to like 60 to 70. And then I, added team members, buyer's agents, and added additional assistants. So now, I mean, I work anywhere from 55 to 60 hours a week, which I enjoy. I literally could work 24/7 if I wanted to. So for me, finding balance is really hard. So I have to hold myself accountable and like just live and die by my schedule. So I have a start time and I have an end time. I have time with, clients. I have time with family. So I try not to take time from one area of my life to put into another area of my life. So you'll find that, when I'm operating, I'm really focused in that moment with the client appointment. And when I'm at home, I really turn everything off and shut it off. And it took me years to get there, mainly just showing up late to appointments, just disrespecting clients and myself and not being available when I should, or, hanging out with the kids and like on the phone. It's not really focus time. So it took a lot to get there, but if I could go back and like, start it all over again, I'd say, really have a focused schedule, really abide by that schedule and be consistent in that. And then, you're going to have some days that are going to fall apart, and it's okay. It happens. We all have fires that we need to put out, but get back on track and be consistent with that. So
I know that our students have been looking at both of your home offices, and I know that one of your hobbies or goals in the most recent couple of years has been running marathons. So as we're looking at Thai Klam's home office, we see these beautiful trophies and ribbons and medals. Tell us a little bit about that, Ty. How did that come about?
I hate running. I still hate running, but I don't do it. Just saying, just to put that out there. I mean, when I had my bakery, I've always struggled with weight. I was like 270 pounds. I guess that just comes with the territory of product testing, right? You got to like test everything that you have. And I, found myself like needing to get in shape. So I became part of this men's fitness group called F3, really transformed my life and transformed my diet. And, we have this saying that we train what we hate. So, a couple of years ago, I, became a vegan and started eating plant-based diet and found myself pushing my limits of like being able to achieve physical fitness. And, I've gotten to the point where I, can run marathons, and my goal next year is to do like 3 full marathons, one in Houston, Austin, and the Woodlands back to back. And then also we love to like ruck, which is like carry a weighted backpack with sandbags and some boot camp training and stuff like that. So there's like events that are geared towards that as well that I enjoy doing. But I think what it's done for me is unlock the level of mental toughness to get past what your physical limitations are. And I've applied that to my business because, being that structured and pushing through, things aren't as bad as what they were before. And it's easier to deal with the daily stresses of work and life.
So doing what you're not comfortable doing, but you have that as a goal and push through. And I'm just blown away that you're doing a marathon, January, Houston, February, Austin, March, the Woodlands. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I still hate running, by the way.
And he still hates it. Blain, I look at your office and I see it's like men on these metal ropes that are going up the wall, almost like mountain climbing or something. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're out there kind of everywhere now. There was a time when they were like, you didn't see them very often, but now they're kind of everywhere. But yeah, it's just called man climbing. It's just a metal sculpture. I have 5 of them. They're all at different levels. So it's just a wall I put together representing myself and my 4 sons, Adam, Jeremy, Austin, and Isaiah. and we're all at different levels, and it's just signifying that, you know, we're going to help each other climb wherever it is that we're wanting to climb and be there to support each other. So when they come over, they see it, and just a kind of a cool conversation piece.
So meaningful, so meaningful. I have one final question for each of you, and that question being, would you have any advice for your younger self today that might have helped you in your past to get to where you are today, or just anything that might be helpful to give to our students, where there's something different you might have done starting your career or in whatever part of your personal or business life? Advice to your younger self, thinking back. Ty, anything come to mind?
Be a lender.
I love that. I love being a lender.
I have so many lender friends, and they have a balanced life, and I think the world is. But I'm just kidding. I love what I do. Being part of the sales process is that, you know, building the relationships and deepening those relationships and just focusing on that early on makes the world of a difference. You know, don't be transactional in the business. Make it about the connections and the people that you meet along the way, and really develop and foster those friendships, because they could be lifelong friendships. And to look at people not so much as a sale, but to look at them as, you know, how can you be purposeful in their life, and how can they have meaning in your life? And, you know, you're not going to want to keep every relationship that you meet. There will be some clients that you're just, you know, never want to do business with again. But for those that you do want to keep relationships with and that have meaningful connections in your life, continue down that journey, because you will absolutely have some transforming relationships that have the world of meaning and depth to your life and really serve the purpose beyond, you know, selling the house. I mean, I love selling homes, don't get me wrong. But if I were to go back to myself, I'd say focus more on the relationship than the industry or the product or whatever else it is that you're doing.
Good advice. I can also tell you there's some real estate students right now that are going to find out, how do I get my RMLO license to be a lender? They are definitely busy right now.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Blaine, any advice to your younger self?
I love everything Ty said, because I think that would be my train of thought as well. I mean, I think the people aspect is so significant, and in the beginning might get a little bit lost. So I would encourage them to foster those relationships. And Ty's right. There, you know, not every client you have is somebody you're going to go, you know, have a drink with or go to dinner with. But it's okay. But the impact can still be significant. And what I found is, I mean, it's not only what I can bring to their life, it's really also what they can bring to my life. I mean, I have so many clients that I still hang out with, that have become significant part of my life. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe 100 people. I mean, maybe 25 like really close friends that have impacted my life profoundly from just the transaction. So to stay out of the transaction frame of mind that Ty said, I think is really profound. My broker leads JB Goodwin, the owner of JB Goodwin, always at the end of the sales meetings that he attends, he always ends with the exact same phrase. It's so simple but profound. And I found that I just use it in my daily life. I don't even realize how often I say it, but he always says, do what you say you're gonna do. And I think that is so significant. You know, if you tell somebody you're gonna call them or you're gonna get some information, to do it and to do it timely. And then I also say to not be anxious, to not spend your first 2 years so anxious. I remember being just really like, oh my gosh, is something going to click? And, you know, is what I'm doing going to work? I would encourage them to just do it, to do those things and lay a firm foundation and not be anxious about it, because it doesn't change anything. What changes things is doing the work and being with those people.
Excellent. Just do what you say you're going to do. And before I sign off and say goodbye to all of our wonderful customers, students, There are a couple of things that I want to say, and one is please tell JB Goodwin hello from me. Years back when I taught in San Antonio all the time, he would be in my MCE class, and such a great guy with wonderful experience. And we just cannot thank you enough, both Ty and Blaine, for your wonderful words of wisdom today. Before I again say thank you to everyone, I just want to remind our students we have our 30 Days to Success workbook. As a new person, it allows you to know every day what you need to do to be successful starting out. You can purchase it online or in the front office. Our new crazy COVID schedule for classes this fall is on our online catalog. You can look at that. I know both of these gentlemen mentioned the designations we offer: ABR, ALHS, luxury home, CHMS, military relocation specialist, pricing specialist. We have it all in our online catalog. And most definitely the PowerPoint mentioned our 2 books. And 3rd edition will have Thai Klam and Blain Johnson with notes from their wonderful presentation today. And those are available online or front office. So what a wonderful morning. Thai Klam, Compass Realty, the Houston region, a superstar success, a really fine guy. And Blain Johnson with JB Goodwin and Associates out of San Antonio, such a professional entrepreneur, very successful in all areas of your career. We thank you for everything you've shared with our students today. And I'm so proud of both of you. I always feel like I had a tiny little part of your success, and I thank you for that. Thank you to our students. Without your business, we don't have one. And with that being said, we will sign off. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
So
everybody.
appreciate it. We'll see you guys out there in the market.
See you later.